Jai Hind students, welcome to all of you. Today, first of all, we will study the remaining part, means last paragraph of the first part of the story. That is the story of Sahib, and then we will also proceed to the second part of the story, that is of Mukesh of Firozabad. So, first of all, let me share the story with you on your screen. Here, students, that tell this that we have already studied in our previous class. Like for one of his for one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. And but the game he is watching so intently is out of his reach. Means the Mukesh, one of the rag pickers that was suffering from such a poverty, extreme poverty condition, that even he could not, his parents could not afford a pair of shoes for him, and who has got a damaged shoes, one of the discarded shoes, which was thrown away by one of the some rich boy, that when he got that he was wearing that shoes, and even the shoes with a hole is a dream come true for him. He was extremely happy because even the shoes with a hole is a dream come true for such a poor and unfortunate child like Sahib. And but the game he is watching so intently is out of his reach. The author says, but the game, the tennis game that which he was watching so intently was out of his reach, means he could not afford it. Now let us see what happened next. That this morning, the author says, describes now further, and says that this morning the Sahib is on his way to the milk booth. Now that morning she could see that Sahib was on his way to the milk booth. He was going to the milk booth, and in his hand is a steel canister, and he was carrying a steel canister in his hand. Instead of, that day it was, means he was doing a different job. It means that instead of carrying the bag for rag picking, he was carrying a steel canister and moving towards the milk booth. I now work in the tea stall, in a tea stall down the road, he says, pointing in the distance. When it was asked to him that where he was going, that he told that now that he was working in a tea stall down the road. He that indicated towards the tea stall. And further he says that I am paid 800 rupees all my meals. And then he also reveals that he is paid 800 rupees as a salary and all his meals at the tea stall. Does he like the job? I asked. Then the author Anish Jung asks him whether he likes his job. Then his face, I see, has lost the carefree look. Means he became grave. Means all of sudden that he became serious, and he lost his carefree look. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he could carry so lightly over his shoulder. And then that the author realizes that it seems that the steel canister which he was carrying to milk booth seems to be heavier than the plastic bags which he was carrying on his shoulder while he was doing rag picking. Means that he was not, it seems that he was not happy to do the job at the tea stall. The bag was his. The reason because the bag was his. The canister belongs to the man who owns the tea stall, because the bag was his. While he was carrying, he was doing rack picking, he was carrying his plastic bag on his shoulder, that he was the master of his own. But while the canister belongs to the man that who owns the tea shop, but the canister which he was carrying to the milk booth, that belongs to the tea shop owner. And Saheb is no longer his own master, and that's why the Saheb seems to be working as a servant. He is no longer his own master, while because that while he was carrying, he was doing rack picking, he was carrying his plastic bags, so that he was free to do the job in his own way. He was not burdened. But here, that he had to follow the instructions of the tea stall owner, and that's why it seems that Saheb is no longer his own master. Means it seems that he did not like the job working at the tea stall. He was feeling more freedom while he was doing rag picking, it seems. And now students, since that here that the first part of the story of rag picker Saheb who belongs to Simapuri is over. And here you can also see as the two questions, these are the short answer type questions, as I have already told. You have already done this two questions, and this third question, which is important, which has already been asked in one of the sets of the board examination. So this you can also do. The answer you can get easily in the last paragraph. Is Saheb happy working at the tea stall? Explain. You have to explain in 30 to 40 words. And I don't think that there will be any difficulty to you. You can easily do. I know it. And now let us proceed to the next part of the story. And this is also the story of another child labor, that is Mukesh, who belongs to Firozabad and who belongs to a family of Bengal makers. And he is also one of the child labor, and who works in a very hazardous conditions in glass in the glass industry. Though the child labor is banned in India, but since it is not implemented, the law is not implemented strictly, and that's why that Mukesh along with 20,000 other children are working in Bengal making factory in such a hazardous conditions. If the law is implemented, they could be out of it, but they work in a very hazardous conditions. Let us see that how he does his job, and whether he was happy to work it. When he says that I want to drive a car, when the author visited Firozabad, and she saw the pathetic conditions of those Bengal makers family. They were also suffering in extreme poverty, and the children were working in the glass Bengals factory. And when she meets one of the child Bengal maker Mukesh, and when she wants that was he happy to work in the Bengal making factory, or he likes to do something else, then he tells that he wants to be a motor mechanic, he wants to drive a car. Means he did not want to pursue the family lineage of making Bengals. So let us see that what happens in this part of the story. I want to drive a car. This is the statement by Mukesh. who is a bangle maker from Firozabad. Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. And when author Anish Jung visited Firozabad, and he meets and she meets Mukesh, and when she asks him, then Mukesh insists on being his own master. Mukesh wants that he does not want to continue his the family business of making bangles. Rather, he wants to be a motor mechanic. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. He says, hopefully, very confidently, that he will become a motor mechanic one day. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. When author asks him whether he knows anything about the cars, then I will learn to drive a car, he answers, looking straight into my eyes. Looking straight into my eyes, you know that he was quite confident, and very confidently looking straight to the eyes of the author. He says that he will learn to drive a car, means he was quite confident of learning the car in future. His dream looms like a mirage. Mirage means a false appearance, and amidst the dust of streets that fill his town Firozabad, which is famous for its bangles. And now when he says that he will learn to drive a car, means his dream looms like a mirage. It seems like a false appearance. It is a distant dream for him to be a motor mechanic amidst the dust of a street, because that he lives in the dust of streets. He lives in Firozabad, which is fill his town Firozabad, which is famous for its bangles, and every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It seems that every other family is busy. Every next family, second family is busy in making bangles in Firozabad. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry. It is center of India's, what is center of India's glass blowing industry? That is Firozabad. Firozabad is famous for bangle making, and it is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around the furnaces, where those families who live there at Firozabad, they work in bangle industry from generations, and they do welding glass, welding. They were busy in welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. And because that the bangles are produced in such a large scale there in Firozabad, it seems that making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems that all the women of the earth, the bangles for all the women of the earth is being produced here in Firozabad in such a large scale that bangles are made there. Mukesh family is among them. Mukesh family is also one of the bangles making family. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures, in dingy cells without air and light, that the law, if enforced, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces, where they slog their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes. Now students, see that this statement is very important. Please underline it. None of them knows that it is the Mukesh family is among them, and none of them know that it is illegal. What is illegal? Illegal working in the glass bangles industry for the children. It is illegal. You know that it is child labor, means in hazardous conditions, and even child labor in India is banned. And so it is illegal for children, especially it is illegal especially for children like Mukesh, to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures, because it is quite dangerous, it is quite hazardous for them, because they have to work in high with high temperature in dingy cells, in a small room. They have to sit for making bangles without air and light, means which is not ventilated. They don't get proper daylight, they don't get even proper air in those dingy cells. And that the law, if enforced, the author says that if the law is enforced, is implemented strictly, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces. If law is enforced, implemented, strictly, then 20,000 children that who work in Bengal making factory could be out of the hot furnaces, and they could be freed from the child labor who were working in such hazardous conditions, where they slog their daylight hours. They slog means they work very hard they spend their daylight in working hard, and because of that often losing the brightness of their eyes. And because of working such hazardous conditions, often they lose the brightness of their eyes. They become blind before being adult. And that's why it is the failure of the government. It seems that because there is law against the child labor, but if it is enforced properly, it is implemented properly, then those 20,000 Bengal makers, those 20,000 children that who are engaged in making bangles, working in such hazardous conditions, they could be freed from uh, working in such hazardous conditions. And Mukesh eyes beam as a volunteer, as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. And now the author describes that Mukesh eyes beam. One day that Mukesh volunteers to offered the author to take her to his home, and which he proudly says that which is being rebuilt, which is being repaired. And he was quite happy to offer her to visit his house, which was being rebuilt. And we walked down the stinky lanes choked with garbage, past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls. Now that here, that remember students, that here that she is describing, the author is describing their miserable conditions, their unhygienic, inhuman conditions in which they live. And she says that we walked down stinking lanes choked with garbage. While she was going along with Mukesh to his house, that she could see that she had to pass through the stinking lanes, foul smelling lanes, which were quite unhygienic and very dirty lanes, and which was choked, filled with garbage. Garbage were thrown here and there, and past homes that remain hovels with the crumbling walls, and the houses which were huts. Actually, they were small houses with the crumbling walls, and the walls of the houses were crumbling, and wobbly doors, and it has wobbly doors, unstable doors. Walls were crumbling, and the doors were unstable, wobbly, and no windows, without windows, and those houses were without means there was not only unhygienic, not only that stinky, uh, it was full their areas were full of stinky lanes choked with garbage. Rather, they did not have the proper ventilation, no windows, and it was crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting. And that further she describes that the families were crowded with the humans. Humans and animals both were coexisting, means living together in the house in a primeval state, primeval state, in a primitive state at the ancient time that people were living, where animals and that human beings were living in the same house, means together in that miserable conditions they live. And he stops at the door of one such house, and uh, one of the such houses with crumbling walls and wobbly doors. He stops and he bangs a wobbly iron door, and he strikes a wobbly iron door of one of the houses with his foot, and pushes it open, and then he pushes it open. He opens the door. We enter a half-built shack, and then they entered into a half-built shack in a hut in a small house which was half-built. In one part of it, then when she entered, then what she observed in the house, that in one part of it thatched with dead grass, one part of the house was thatched with dead grass, means its roof was made of dead grass, and a fire stove over which sits a large vessel. And there was a fire stove, there was a hearth in the corner, and it sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaves, and then the food was being cooked, and on the hearth that spinach was kept to boil. On the ground in large aluminium platters, means on the ground in big aluminium plates are more chopped vegetables. Some chopped vegetables were kept, and a frail means a thin looking woman uh, is cooking the evening meal. And there was a frail young woman, and she was cooking the evening meal for the whole family there in the house. And through eyes filled with smoke she smiles, and though they were quite very poor, but she, whose the woman, the frail young woman, that whose eyes was filled with smoke, when she looked the author, she took her as a guest, and she welcomes her with smiles. And she is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother. And who was that frail woman? And she is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother. And she is though she is not much older in years, she is not older in age. She has begun to command respect as the Bahu. She was getting respect as a Bahu in the family, and Bahu means the daughter-in-law. She was the daughter-in-law of the family, and she is already in charge of 3 men. She is already, and then further the author says that she is already in charge. She has the responsibility of 3 men: her husband Mukesh and their father. And when the older man enters, that she gently withdraws behind the broken wall, and brings her veil closer to her face as a custom demands. Means though they were poor, but even then they were following the that the custom, the traditions. And this is one of the example, as the author says that when the older man uh, enters when the old man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken she goes back behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer, means, and she hide her face. As custom demands, the daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders, because it was their family custom that when uh, the faces before the male when any male elders enters into the house, the daughters-in-law uh, mm, must veil, means the cover their faces. And this kind of custom, even we can see that in our distant villages it is existing. Even today in the cities this such kind of custom is broken, but even that we can see that it is existing in the distant villages. And in this case the elder is an impoverished, means a poor. In this case, in that house, that the elder, who is the male elder, that who is a poor bangle maker, means though they are poor, even nevertheless they follow the custom, their custom and their tradition. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house, send his two sons to school. And now that what is the achievement of that elder of the family, that the author says that despite long years of hard labor, means hard labor, he worked very hard in his life and for many years. And in spite of his hard labor for many years, that what is his achievement, that first he worked as a tailor, and then as a bangle maker, that he was not able to renovate, to repair a house. Even after working so hard, means they were so poor that even after working so hard for many years, that he was unable, that Mukesh's father was unable to repair a house. And he was also unable to send his two sons to school, means he was not able to give education. He was not able to manage that so much money to send his children to get education in this, from the school. And all he has managed to do is teach them what he knows, and what he could manage in his life, that he was able to teach his two sons the art of making bangles, which he knew. That was his achievement. Means by seeing the conditions of this family, Mukesh family, means it it can easily be understood that uh, mm, what extremely poor conditions those family is live those that family was living. And it was not the miserable condition of one family, rather almost all the bangle makers families condition were almost the same. Now see, it is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother. And Mukesh's grandmother, who was there when it was asked, and she, in order to explain, she tells that it is his karam, it is his destiny. And who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass bangles, and that who herself had seen her husband becoming blind by walking in the bangle making factory polishing the glass bangles. Can a God given lineage ever be broken? She implies that when she said that can a God given lineage ever be broken, she means that born in a caste of bangle makers can they have seen nothing but bangles in the houses, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard, every street in Firozabad. Since they were, she means to say that this statement rather important, that this the can a God given lineage ever be broken? What is the God given lineage? God given lineage is she is fatalist. She believes in her fate, in her fortune, and she says that God given lineage. What was the God given lineage? That was the family business of family tradition of making bangles. Since she born in a family which was working in the bangle making factory from generations, she could not break it, she could not leave it. That's why her family is also compelled to work in the bangle making industry. She believes in her fate. I think that for today's class I will have to end up here. Now see students, that time is about to be over, so remaining part of the story we will study in our next class. And till now what you have to do is those questions which are belong to the paragraphs which have been explained today, as you do always, means if you can write the answers of those questions which belong to the paragraphs which have been explained today, it will be easier for you to understand the story in a better way. That's all for today, students. Thank you and have a good day.